Euthanasia in Quebec is safe. Trust me, I'm a politician. That's right, the architect of Quebec's new euthanasia law says she has, quote, great confidence that healthcare officials will prevent any abuses. But can we trust her? Here to break down the debate that won't die is Campaign Life Coalition's Alyssa Golub. Nice to have you here, Alyssa.
Nice to see you.
All right, so can we have any safeguards once euthanasia is ushered into Quebec?
I don't think so. I don't see how. And I mean, we see it with Switzerland. We see people coming in. And I mean, they don't have as many safeguards as the Quebec government says they will. I mean, it takes 3 months to have a health card in Quebec, and they say that you need to have a health card in order to have the physician administer these lethal drugs. But I still don't see how they could possibly control it. And I think that, you know, they have bigger issues than controlling who comes into Quebec and who doesn't. And then the bigger issue of, you know, a doctor, a physician, performing a homicide on another person, whether they're consenting or not. So I think there's a bigger issue than whether or not they can control who's coming in. But that's definitely an element of the debate for sure.
Okay, so do you think that this is going to lead to an increase of suicide tourism within Quebec?
Absolutely. I mean, I don't see how it can't. They say that, you know, one of the critics said that, you know, when people want euthanasia, they want to spend their last couple of months with their family and their friends, surrounded by their family and their friends, and they don't want to pick up and leave and move to a different province. But then again, if they're going to such lengths to die, I don't see what would prevent them from doing that in the first place if they don't live in the same province. People do it in Switzerland, like I said, all the time. So I don't know how they would regulate it.
Now, I want to bring in Dr. Saba here. He is part of the coalition that is actually suing the government for their Bill 52. Let's have a listen to him.
Not only is it not medical care, it's euthanasia is cruel and inhuman punishment. When you look at it from terms of UN reports, when they talk about what is cruel and inhuman treatment of a person, when we have the alternatives to provide people relief, support, you know, from suffering, and we go ahead and we end their lives prematurely, which is what's going to happen. This is the greatest form of abuse that you can do to another human being.
Now, I would say that, you know, what we need to be focusing on is essentially better end-of-life care, palliative care, and the rest of it. I want to switch gears now a little bit. Instead of end-of-life, beginning of life. New movie's coming out. It's supposed to be rom-com, as you mentioned, romantic comedy, but it makes light of abortion very seriously. Can we just take a quick look at some of the trailer for that movie?
Remember from before when we did sex to each other?
I can't get your blouse off.
I'm having your abortion. Do you want to share a dessert? Leave with that. Definitely leave with that.
See, Alyssa, I don't find that funny. What does this say about the state of affairs in the Western world if we're laughing about the termination of fetuses?
I mean, I don't know who's laughing at that. You know, that was Jenny Slate, a former Saturday Night Live co-host. And yeah, there's a romantic comedy coming out about this woman who has a one-night stand, a drunken one-night stand, and then gets pregnant and goes and has an abortion. And it's really ironic that, you know, when pro-lifers do go out in public or they do talk about the abortion debate, you know, pro-abortion advocates say, well, you're making light of it. People, this is such a difficult decision for people, for women. You know, how are you imposing on their personal situations, yet they can make a romantic comedy about it? It's the biggest form of hypocrisy, and killing another person and the struggles that surround that whole element of a woman getting an abortion is not a laughable matter. But conversely, you know, there is a positive side in that it really does realistically show that this is an average abortion. Many abortion advocates say, well, what about rape or a child who gets pregnant? And they always show these really difficult cases, but 90% of abortions are used as a backup form of birth control, and this is a perfect example. So I think in that way, it is accurate in how easy and numerous people do get abortions.
Making light of a very serious situation.
Exactly.
Now, speaking of making differences in what should otherwise be the proper interpretation of a situation, Catholic teachers marching in Pride Toronto. We got a new letter coming out from London's Catholic School Board. I mean, the chorus is mounting in the side of, you know, don't march. Do you think that we're going to see some actual change, or do you think that the English Teachers Union is going to go ahead and march in leather thongs? Who knows?
I think that they'll go ahead and march, but I'm glad that there is the rallying behind against that participation that there is with Cardinal Collins, with various bishops, now with the London School Board, the York School Board. So I think that this is a really positive sign. And, you know, we've seen this from OECTA in the past. In the last provincial election, they funneled $3 million into the Liberal Party of the union members. So, I mean, they're constantly taking these political stances and issues that not only go against the Catholic Church, but in issues that they should have no say in. You know, they're a union, they're there to protect the union workers, they're not there to make judgment calls on faith and morals.
Even though this is that sort of school board where we discuss things like faith and morals, do you think that there is an inevitable watering down of the Catholic school system that is happening and is going to continue to happen, perhaps even get worse?
I mean, the thing is, the unions don't make those calls in the schools. The school board trustees and the teachers make those calls, the bishops especially. So I don't think that unions, like Cardinal Collins said in his letter, it's an inadequate and misinterpretation of the Catholic faith, which is why they have the church leaders and the teachers there to properly educate the students. The unions aren't, that's not their job. So why they're taking a stand in these matters is wrong and isn't their job.
I wish that they would stop. For now, we have to pray that they do not march in pride. We're going to have to leave it there. Alyssa, thank you so very much.
Thank you, Faith.